Hi, my name is Kristen Bearfoot. I run the outdoor van life blog called Barefoot Theory. I have been doing some version of road life since 2016 when I got my first Sprinter van. I've since had 2 other Sprinter vans, and now I'm in the Rossmonster Baja Trail truck built on an F350. I write about van life, hiking, camping, road trips, and my goal is to empower people to get on the road. So here for the tires, we have 37-inch BFG KO2s, we have method wheels, and we have the Carly pin top suspension system. As far as lighting, we have a light bar up top made by Rigid and some more lights in here built into the bumper. So one thing that's really cool about the Rossmonster is it's a hard-sided pop top. So the top part there where the light bar is, that whole part comes down and covers those 2 front windows. And so when we're driving, it's actually a couple inches shorter than a tall height Sprinter van. And so that enables us to be a little bit more nimble on the trails. And also because it's hard-sided, it can support a lot of overhead cabinets inside, which offers a lot more storage than a soft-sided pop top would. And the whole pop top is built on like a hydraulic system, and so in order to lift it up, you just press a button and it goes up in about 45 seconds. So I think this is one of the coolest features of the exterior. This is a set of max tracks that we use for obviously getting unstuck, but you just pull these little knobs here and it creates a nice outdoor table. So I use this as a standing desk. I can cook on it. It's also good for just like putting drinks and snacks and stuff. Coming from a van where we had like a huge garage for all of our gear under the bed, I was a little bit nervous in moving to a truck because you lose some of that storage that you would have in your van garage. So we have these boxes back here, and they've done a great job at helping make up some of that lost storage space. I don't know how organized they're gonna be in here, but so this is kind of just all the random things that we need. Stroller, hoses, tools, camp chairs, yoga mats, duffel bags. Eventually we'll have more outdoor gear once my son's older, but for now we're stuck with the stroller and extra diapers. Way back in 2016, I had been running my travel blog for a couple of years, and I wanted a vehicle that was going to give me more flexibility to work from the road while also feeling safe as a solo female traveler. So I landed on a 144 Sprinter van. I had it built out by someone I found on Instagram. The van was not built as well as I had hoped for, and also just the layout wasn't a great fit for me, which I learned after I started traveling in it. So I decided to sell that and start over. So for van number 2, I was going to be joined by my partner and our dogs, and so I decided to go for a 170, and I had it built out by Outside Van in Oregon. And that van was amazing. We traveled all over the United States and Canada with it. Okay, so come on in and I'll show you the inside. Okay, so welcome to my home. Starting in the back, we have a nice big dinette. Can comfortably seat 4 people. The table is built on the Lagoon mount, and it can come off and it just sets up on the 2 brackets down there, and it can turn into a bed. These cushions here come off and then they fill in this space to make a full bed. So this is where my son sleeps. We just set up a travel crib right on here, and that's where he sleeps. So up here we have all kinds of overhead storage. So we have like all of our food and stuff here, and more in the back. So there's tons of storage in these cabinets, which is really nice living in this full time. Definitely plenty of room for all the things that we need to travel. So down here is a little hidden compartment. This is where we store all of our dog food and dog supplies. It's nice to just keep that out of the way. And here we have all of our cooking utensils. And down here is a nice big cabinet for all of our appliances and pots and pans. Under here is storage for toiletries. Here we have a nice deep sink, which is great for letting the dishes stack up. And then underneath here, we have a 40-gallon freshwater tank. So this is the first time I've ever had a microwave in my rig, and it seemed a little bit excessive, but it's been so handy for heating up leftovers and also late night popcorn. Here we have a 2-burner induction stove. This is great because we don't have to carry propane because we have a big enough induction stove to do like a full meal on. Down here we have the Isotherm Cruise Elegance fridge. And then behind the countertops, we have this nice backsplash. This comes in all of the Rossmonster rigs, and it's just nice to keep the upholstery on the walls clean when you're cooking and doing dishes. Back here on the couch is where we have all of our systems. There's also a little bit of storage, but it's primarily consumed by all of the systems. So for electrical, we have 1,000 amp hours of lithium. It's a Victron system. We have a 3,000 watt inverter, which is really nice because we can be using the induction stove and also like our air fryer at the same time because we love to cook. And we have 600 watts of solar on the roof. And then also the batteries are connected to the alternator, so they're constantly charging while we drive. So it's a really powerful system. And then for our heat and hot water, we have an AquaHot system that's also in the couch here, and that provides instantaneous hot water and hot air for traveling in colder climates. So one thing that's really cool is our window system. These are acrylic windows, so they're very good at insulating, and they're also really easy to open. So we can have them open in the rain, but they also have a built-in screen as well as built-in blackout, so we don't have to worry about carrying any additional shades for our windows that tend to be bulky and take up a lot of room. So after about 4 years and 70,000 miles, we started talking about starting a family. And so since we didn't have a third seatbelt in that van, we decided to sell it, and I started over with a third Sprinter van build, also a 170. And we traveled in that for a bit. I did end up getting pregnant, and we had a little baby boy, and we hit the road with him when he was 4 months old, and it was very, very difficult. We probably left when he was a little bit too young, but the space was just starting to feel really cramped with 2 adults, a baby, and 2 dogs, and so that's how I ended up with a truck. So when my son was about 1.5 years, we started looking for other options, and I found the Rossmonster, and it seemed like a perfect fit because I wanted something that wasn't going to limit where we could go compared to the Sprinter van, but we needed more space. And so there really weren't a lot of options that I could find that found that perfect balance between like off-road capability and a more functional living area for a family. And so when I found this, it seemed perfect, and that's what we decided to go with. And we've been full-time on the road for 5 months with our 2-year-old, and yeah, so far it's just going wonderful. So backtracking to my very first Sprinter van in 2016, I had a full bathroom in it, and I swore I would never do it again. I hardly ever used it, and it just didn't really make sense with like a 20-gallon water tank to have a shower and all the space that it takes up. But here we decided to go for the shower again and give it another try, and I'm so happy we did. This has, with the 40-gallon water tank, you can actually take a decent shower without running through half your water supply. We also have a portable composting toilet, and we also store our trash in here. Here, this is like my little nightstand. There's some charging ports on the top of it, and it's also got a nice storage in here for just some random items. And up here we have a queen-size bed. It fits my 6-foot-tall partner and my 2 dogs and myself very comfortably. The dogs sleep with us every night. So to get up here, this ladder here comes off the wall, and you just stick it like that, and then you have a nice, easy way to get up in the bed, which is great for ventilation in the evenings. And then over here, this is all of our clothing storage. So mine's in here, and then there's another equal one on the other side. So as far as the height in here, the total standing height when the roof is popped is 6 foot 6 inches. So it's really great for tall people. And then when the roof comes down, it comes to about here. So even though you have to duck a little bit, you can still come back here and function, use the bathroom, get into the cabinets, even when the roof is down, which is a nice feature if you just need to make a quick stop and you don't want to deal with the roof, even though it's easy. It's nice that you can still function in here. So coming from a van, one of the things that I was a little bit nervous about was losing access to the living area from the cab. It was one thing that drew me to a van in the first place when I was traveling as a solo female, because just for safety purposes. So I was really excited to find out that the Rossmonster has this pass-through here. So it's obviously not massive, but it is big enough to crawl through. So if my partner's driving and he needs something from the fridge or a snack or something, I can crawl back here and get it for him. My son can also crawl through, and it's also great for the dogs going back and forth. And it is nice to know that we could get into the front seat without having to go outside if we ever had to. And then when we're driving, this snaps down, and that comes down like this. This is made by Rollif, and this helps provide some insulation to the noise. So when we're driving up in the cab, it's actually pretty quiet compared to a vehicle where everything is all one with no separation. To lift the roof, it's lifted now, but all you have to do is press these buttons here. So when you're ready to go down, you just make sure everything is closed and nothing's blocking the roof, and you just press the button, and it takes about 30 to 45 seconds. So now we're inside the cab. I love how comfortable it is to sit on long road trips up here. One thing that's really nice is the truck cab is absolutely huge. We use the back seat for my son and our dogs, but there's also tons of storage. So back here is where we store like our shoes and just things that we need quick and easy access to that we don't want to like clutter up our living area with. One thing that's really nice about this is, so here we have a rear view mirror, but this is actually the wolf box. And so what that allows is the camera, so when we're driving, it actually shows what's behind us and functions as a rear view mirror, even though we have no view from in here of the back. And then we also have like a backup camera here. So there's two different rear view cameras that makes driving a bigger vehicle a lot easier. Thanks for watching this tour of my Rossmonster Baja Trail. If you're interested in this rig or just more about life on the road, you can check out my website, barefoottheory.com, but it's spelled bear like the animal. I'm also Barefoot Theory on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all the other places. So hit me up if you have questions, and thank you again.